everyone, welcome to the Raw Report episode 38. But before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, hit us up on Instagram at Raw Fantasy Sports. I am your host, Jericho, along with my co-host, the Bolivian Siberian Andre P. Perez, and the Bronx Bomber X, reporting to you live, all right, after an exciting week. What is it, 16? Week 16 that we're in?
Week 16, baby.
And we got some big losses out here, guys. Big losses this weekend. The Niners lost, the Chiefs lost, the Cowboys lost, and so did the Jaguars to the Jacksonville. The Jaguars lost to the Bucks here, okay? So the Bucks got the big W, all right? But that's a huge L for Jacksonville, guys.
Yeah, I thought the Jags would come out a lot stronger than they did, especially against an NFC opponent, a tough opponent. And they came out flat on their face. You know, they didn't even come to play ball. Like, honestly, like the way we've been talking about Trevor and Ridley and Engram, and we thought this offense would produce. And this is the one game that they really fell flat on their face. And the Bucks, they look like a formidable opponent all of a sudden. You know, it's a weak NFC South, but now the Bucks, it looks like you just can't take them lightly anymore. You know, you have to handle your business against them.
No, it's facts, bro. You have your studs on the team aren't doing a damn thing, man. You got it's Trevor Lawrence, right? It starts with the quarterback. He had 2 interceptions. The run game was not there. Travis Etienne was basically shut out on the ground. He had 6 carries for 12 yards.
Right.
You know, and against a surging team in the Bucks, right? You got to show out, but they didn't handle it, and they're just slipping down the ranks, man. They're slipping down the ranks and just look very suspect. If they make the postseason, you're their opponent. You see that matchup. You're not afraid. You're not afraid.
And I just gotta say that I knew it all along about Brock Purdy. He came up short, 4 picks, guys. Okay, the guy that you guys were saying was owning the NFC from right under my Eagles out here. Listen, bro, 33-19. Brock Purdy used to be in the conversation for MVP. I don't think any longer. Okay, 4 picks. It was an atrocious performance. Lamar Jackson, the glorious Lamar Jackson, getting me into the fantasy football finals out here in the Polo League. All right, I owe it all to him last night, man. Christian McCaffrey, he was the one that was holding the 49ers up last night, all right? But they couldn't pull it, man. They did a terrible performance all through the fucking game, and it just didn't produce anything. Patty, I'm a huge believer in Patty. I don't know what the hell that was against the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, the Raiders don't even have like a solid offense right now. Okay, like I don't understand how they can lose to Vegas like that. So, man, these are terrible losses. I gotta give a tremendous shout out. I don't know where Bone Santana is right now, but a tremendous shout out to the Dolphins for beating the Dallas Cowboys out by 2 points. All right, Tua is continuing on his path to the top 3 MVP talk, but the Dolphins 11-4 over the Cowboys, guys, out here in Miami. So
No, it was a great win, man. Like you see, like throughout the whole season, you see the Dolphins stomping on crappy teams and then just getting shown up by better teams, right? So this was a great matchup against, a very solid Cowboys team. And Tua, 2-minute drill Tua, you can call him that. He led the team down, led the team down the field to set up the game-winning field goal by Jason Big Dick Sanders, right? And that just goes to show that maybe he has it in him to be clutch in those last few moments, right? That was a question with him, I guess, but I don't think it's a question anymore. But Patty Mahomes, he can't do everything by himself. It was an atrocious performance. You have the Raiders are down to their their second string running back. Devontae Adams didn't do shit. And lo and behold, the Raiders pulled out a win in Kansas City, nonetheless, right? It's tough. And then Brock Purdy, a couple of his picks were deflections, right? Maybe some bad decisions here and there, but he's the game manager, like Cam Newton said. He's a game manager who tweeted like a side eye smiley after the game, just kind of proving everyone's point. Christian McCaffrey can't throw the ball to himself.
Right, right. I agree with that. I think last week Purdy was the clear favorite to win MVP, and now with the 4 picks, he not only statistically fell out of it, but just losing to Lamar in that fashion, it just boosted Lamar from top three
Yeah,
to just number one. You
yeah.
know, we skipped anyone who was number two, and who was number two? I think it might have been Dak or someone else, but Dak didn't have the best game. Neither
Uh,
did someone else. I think Tua moved up significantly.
two moved up. Yeah,
Tua
two moved
moved
up.
up. I think Joe
But I think
Flacco moved up. If we
CMC's
talking
I
about
think
Joe
yo
Flacco.
Joe Flacco but I think CMC is at plus 450 right now,
Oh, he
and
went
he's
up.
in second. He's in
CMC went up.
second. Yeah.
CMC went up. So it's looking towards Lamar as of right now. But I wouldn't even count out Hurts for that matter. Or even Josh Allen, because if Josh Allen could win
No,
out the
Josh
last two
Josh is
games,
top five right now. Yeah, I
Josh
saw
has
that.
40 touchdowns. That's more than Lamar. Lamar has 19 and 5. That's 24 touchdowns compared to 40. Like, would 2 wins be that much of a difference maker for Lamar to get it over Josh?
No, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, Josh is up there, man. Like he is definitely a one man show.
Right.
But Stephon Diggs has not produced in your fantasy leagues his last couple of weeks in the playoffs when you needed him. He's
Uh,
done squat. Dalton Kincaid, nothing. Josh Allen's out here running the ball as much as he can, throwing it to whoever's available. Gabe Davis has this once every 5 game stellar performance,
yeah.
but
Star performance. Then he goes to sleep.
yeah, and then he goes on vacation for 3 to 7 business weeks.
Yeah, that's Gabe Davis. Gabe, 3 to 4 business weeks, Davis.
Yeah, yeah,
Every 3 or 4 weeks, he'll have a crazy game, and that's it. And you don't hear from him for
yeah,
a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So,
never know who to pick on those on that team to ball out, but those big teams losing, I think Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson clear front runner for the MVP, boys.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
and speaking of which, guys, we're approaching the fantasy football finals. Finally bringing to a close a long fantasy season for everybody involved, especially us at RFS. Yours truly is going to the Polo League Championship. Andre, I believe you're going to the first ever RFS Fantasy Cup, a league in which
Yes,
takes 2 years
sir.
to qualify. Okay, guys, 2 years to qualify, and Andre is the first
And
ever, along with our boy Vegas over there. Good luck to you guys this weekend,
Thank
and
you,
may the
sir.
better team win.
It's
All
fine.
right, my boy X over here, he made his dough this week, this season, and I know you've been doing your lines as well.
yeah,
And I know Bones is also headed to some sort of final against Danny. And Danny, who's been previously with us at the Raw Report, they'll be facing in the Classic RLX League. All right, the Founders
Yes,
Leagues out here.
sir.
So very exciting
nice.
stuff for fantasy. Lamar getting me the points that I needed because I was up against Christian McCaffrey last night against Flex. All right, I was sweating bullets out here because Christian
Yeah,
McCaffrey can put up 25, 30 points with ease,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
since Brock Purdy wasn't performing.
absolutely.
He wasn't doing shit out here. But luckily, I made it out of that. And I'm going to be facing Carlos as well, who everybody laughed out of the room in our draft this season. All right. He was drafting a bunch of different. This was before Laporta was Laporta. Okay. Like, who the hell is
This
this
is
guy
before
and why are you
Tank
drafting
Bell
him?
was when he drafted Tank Bell. I thought I read Taco Bell. I thought he was placing an order on Grubhub. It was my mistake. I had no idea who he was drafting, and we all just said who
Yeah,
the
we
Snoop
did.
Dogg meme who
We did
right.
that.
But
We
this
did.
man is now in the fantasy polo league finals against Jerry the commish. So shout out to my boy Carlos, making it this far, and his number one hater is the he shall not be named, but he sits at the bottom of the league in standings.
And shout out to him because he's currently in the finals himself against the
He is,
legendary,
he
the
is.
Raw Father Mooks.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
that's
Legendary
a
finals.
showdown.
showdown.
That's a
That's a
showdown.
legendary showdown.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that's a showdown. Childhood friends, grown up enemies. Let's do it.
Let's
Oh,
do it. Let's do it. All right, moving
Oh,
on, guys. Joe Flacco is out here pulling miracles with Amari Cooper and the Cleveland Browns. 10-5, an unexpected 10-5, and it's looking like they're going to the playoffs without Deshaun Watson, guys.
no.
It's been
Yeah,
marvelous from the
no, bro,
couch to the playoffs.
that's an incredible story. Joe Smoking Joe, the real Smoking Joe, out here, 38 years old, about to turn 39 in a couple weeks, standing at 6'6", a behemoth with a rock in his hands, throwing was it 360 something yards, right? Three
Yeah.
TDs and 265 of those yards to Amari Cooper with two TDs to him. That's insane. He's throwing out here at a clip of like 40 attempts a game. At 38 years old, you think he was, washed up, just a game manager, if you will, just, trying to keep that ground game running. But that ground game is it's kind of gone, man. He's slinging that ball to everybody out there.
Yeah, he's
Njoku
playing
is
great.
popping off.
Yo, and
I mean,
Joku, I wanted to talk about that. And Joku's going crazy now.
Njoku is bro. That guy, he has half a face and he's lighting it up.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun, but it's incredible, man. Anybody that took a chance on Njoku, he was on waivers, bro. He was on waivers in every league, and then just blowing up, saving people's fantasy leagues.
Yep.
We talked about how the tight end position is non-existent. You got boys like Laporta, Ingram, Njoku. Um, even that rookie Tyler Croft after Luke Musgrave, another rookie went out in Green Bay. He's putting up some decent, fill-in numbers. So, um, it's Joe Flacco's doing his thing out there in Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
And this
Flacco's
weekend,
looking
beating
good.
out Houston, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, and 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 picks, and getting off the couch, guys. Winning games out here for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they're not stellar stats over here, but that's pretty decent considering he was eating potato chips out of a couch a few weeks ago. And then 368 passing yards and 3 touchdowns against the Houston Texans with a QBR of 87.2 and a 64% accuracy, bro. So he came out here to play, bro. He's trying to get into the playoffs. All right. So it's very clear that, the Browns are moving on without Deshaun Watson, who we don't even see on the sidelines. All right. They brought in Joe Flacco to provide that leadership that the team needs. All right. The
Mm-hmm.
team still needs some sort of leadership, guys. So I do see Flacco going into the playoffs and doing and perhaps winning a game. Don't be
Yeah,
surprised if they're ultimately the sleeper here. All right.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And it's just a
I'll,
tremendous
I'll
job.
buy
I
that.
love seeing shit like this.
Yeah, I'll buy those statistics. I'm not a Ravens fan. They're across the water from us here in DC, right? So Ravens and Redskins rivalry has always existed, but you always it's a feel good story, right? In sports, you always got to. It's a feel good story. You're happy for the man out here playing and producing like that. Deshaun Watson out there texting all his old masseuses for a handy real quick, but nobody's ain't picking up the phone because they're like, hey, this ain't Joe. I don't want no mo. So let's do it.
Yeah, no, it says a lot, especially, a team like the Browns. They have a good record and we're still calling them sleepers. And it's like no one's thinking about them in the playoffs, but they are a force to be reckoned with if they're going to keep playing like this, especially on
Yeah,
defense.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
another team that people are kind of sleeping on is the Packers. I think, statistically, they're in the playoff. Well, they're not in the playoffs right now, but I think they can jump the Vikings, who are trending downwards. And the Packers could sneak in the playoffs, maybe upset the Lions or, another wild card team there. I think the Packers are up for it.
Yeah, I like that Packers pick, man. Jordan Love is playing lights out right now. You got that rookie Jaden Reed out there balling out. He missed this last game. He was hurt, but if he can get back on the field, Christian Watson as well, hurt, banged
Christian
up.
Watson got to come back.
But you
Yeah.
have you have this guy Dontavian Wicks comes out of nowhere and he's still producing. So it goes to show like those receivers are out there running their routes. They're reading the defense and making adjustments. Romeo Dobbs caught a touchdown too. He knows that offense. Aaron Jones is looking like a little bit more. It got like he has his legs under him, right?
Yeah.
Um, so as long as their defense can keep the offense the opposing offense off the scoreboard, yeah, I like that Packers pick as a sleeper. Making some noise in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
I mean that takes so my sleeper pick is the is the Los Angeles Rams out here. They're 5-1 since their bye week. Matt Stafford's playing like he was playing in 2021 when they won the chip, right? They got Puka Nakua playing lights out at wide receiver. Cooper Cup, he has like a ball, he balls out one game, and then this past week, not much, but you have Puka picking up the slack. Kyron Williams, workhorse RB, just torching defenses and defensive ends, looking back at them with the deuce sign like Tyreek. That defense, if they can keep some, same thing. They got Aaron Donald there, a proven winner. Um, I think the
Yeah.
Rams are a team that you don't want to face right now. While they're hot, momentum's a thing. They're hot right now. And that one loss, by the way, was against the Ravens in overtime. So it's not like they lost like a to a bad team or they didn't put up a fight. It was an overtime loss to the Ravens. So
Right.
don't
Like you
sleep on the
said.
Rams.
No, like you said, they won what, 5 out of their last 6. They're trending
Yeah.
upwards. Then you have teams like the Seahawks who are trending downwards. I think we
Yeah.
would agree and say that. So I
Yeah.
think the Rams, they're a formidable team now. Everyone's kind of healthy and they're getting on the same page.
Yeah. I mean that fifth wild card spot is a toss up between the Eagles and the Cowboys, right? So it's a battle for 6 and 7. I think the Seahawks currently are in 7, if I'm
No, the
not
Eagles are going to
mistaken.
be top 3. The
But
Eagles
but
are top
they
3.
but they but for me, the Seahawks are the first team to be out of the playoffs. Um, the Rams are up there. You still got the NFC South, the other people out there, the Saints, the um, I forgot, like you said, the Packers are there too. So
Yeah, but they could clinch number 1 still. The Eagles.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
11 and
yeah,
4. Niners are 11 and 4. Lions are 11 and 4.
yeah,
So
yeah,
those 3 teams are still in it to have that first week off, you know? So,
yeah. That number one seed, like remember back in the day, not even that far back, but it used to be the top two seeds have a bye week. It's only the number one now.
right.
So number two is very, it's a great home field advantage. But like I said, some of these lower seed wild card teams that sneak in, but they got that momentum. They're hitting all cylinders at the right time. You don't want to see them. Don't get too comfy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, for my
Not a,
sleeper pick, I'm gonna have to go with the Indianapolis Colts, man. For some reason, Jacksonville's just been struggling, man. They lost 7 games now under Doug Peterson. I was fully expecting them to make it a turnaround season and be that top divisional leader, but
mm,
unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been able to get that breakout performance going, and I firmly believe that the coaching has lapsed a bit. They have Calvin Ridley. They lost Christian Kirk. Um, it hasn't been easy for them. So, for unfortunately, I think that Indianapolis, although they're a bit banged up, they got the fury of Gardner Minshew out there, and he's getting them games won. So, I think I'm gonna pick Indianapolis as my sleeper. I see them in good shape. I think they're gonna clinch the playoffs and perhaps knock out Jacksonville.
okay. I like that. I'm not mad at that pick, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have Pittman was hurt this week, right? But Jonathan Taylor also came back from his injury. He was out for I think 3 weeks, man. It was tough for me. I had him on 2 fantasy leagues and he was on and I traded for him in those leagues. I needed him to help me get in I mean, I got in the playoffs, but when I needed him that first week, it was tough not to play with him. But he's back. He looks spry. Michael Pittman should be back, who has been PPR consistency at the wide receiver position. Anyone that picked and took a chance on Pittman this year, I think he has one game under 10 points besides the game that he just missed.
No, no.
So
Dude, the Jaguars have only won 2 out of their last 8 games, and they haven't won since last month.
they were what? They were what?
Wow.
8-2, eight and I forgot what they
Wow.
were,
They
bro.
started good, and they just lost. Look, they lost their last 4. They played the Bucks, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals, and they lost the last 4 bad.
That's tough,
They're not
man.
doing good,
That's
guys. The Colts are gonna come in and knock them out of that spot.
That's it,
It's,
dude. They
it's
lost to
Mark
the
my
very,
words.
Bengals.
very possible. Like I said, you get momentum at the right time,
Yeah,
right at the end of the season. You
yeah.
know, you see it in fantasy all the time. People that have that number one seed, right? That have that number one seed. Like, look at the fantasy cup, bro. I made it in the sixth seed, and I think Vegas was eighth seed, and we're both in the finals.
And I was the first seed, and the eighth seed knocked me out.
That's what I'm saying. As
That's the
you,
drama, baby. The
you're,
playoffs.
it's the playoffs. Nothing's guaranteed. Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, indeed, bro. All right, guys, and moving on here, we got the draft coming up, and with the current state of the NFL right now and how teams are placed. All right, what do you see with the draft coming up here? We know Carolina, they traded away their pick to Chicago. Okay, so Chicago
Yeah,
technically has the first round pick via Carolina. All right,
yeah,
and then you have the Arizona Cardinals. I know they're in there somewhere.
yeah. They're number two. Cardinals are number two. And then yours truly, Washington Commanders with the number three overall pick. I think Chicago has their franchise QB in Justin Fields. I don't see any way that they get rid of him, right? If for to me it feels like they trade down. Um, and same thing with the Cardinals. They just paid Kyler. They got to trade down, right? Or maybe they take a shot at Marvin Harrison, get Marquise, but get Hollywood Brown out of there. Get Marvin Harrison Jr., a real weapon for Kyler Murray. That'd be sick, right? But the Commanders, I think it's pretty obvious that they need to pick a quarterback. Sam Howell has been benched 2 games in a row midway through the game. It's there's a lot of great QBs: Drake May, Caleb Williams, the LSU guy Jaden. That's they have to go QB and then fill in other needs there. Um, they're like one of the worst secondaries in the league. Any team that plays the Washington Commanders, if you have a starter, just start them. It could be the fifth string wide receiver slash punter. Start him. He's going to get you points. After that, the Patriots also got to get a QB in there. Mac Jones ain't it. And then the Giants, the fifth. I think X and I touched on this. They paid Daniel Jones, so he's got to be there at least a year. But they got to get an O line healthy enough to keep
We
him
don't have
upright.
our first round pick. We don't have our first round pick. Oh, I'm lying. I'm lying. We do this year.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah, no, yeah, but so I'm saying like the Giants, they need an O line, man, just like the
Yeah.
Commanders do. But that O
Yeah.
line, that O line
And,
is
and just to
serious,
put it
bro.
out there, the Chicago Bears also have the eighth pick. So they have two top 10 picks in
Right.
the first
You
round.
know, this
And they could
this is
make
what I
it.
wanted. Yeah. What
Yeah,
I want to touch on is how they have 2 picks. And I think, bro, I think as much as they might like Fields, I think they might like not paying him as well and just
yeah,
trading him. Trading him, having 2 top picks, they could trade back and still get a quarterback that they want. You know what I mean? Because there's, like you said, there's
possible, man.
a
Hey,
few good quarterbacks. They could take Caleb Williams, number one, and then see what happens with Marvin Harrison. See what happens with another player while these other teams get their quarterbacks. You said you had Drake May out there. We got Jaden Daniels out there. Like I
yeah,
think
Jay Daniels. Yeah,
yeah, I think he could go to the Commanders and have like a Drake May in the Patriots. But Caleb Williams is going to be a top pick. You
yeah.
know,
Caleb Williams
you
has to
might
be
as well
what
take
has to be the number one pick right now.
right. You might as well take him and his upside over a Justin Fields that you might have to pay 200 million, or 150
Right
million or
at the
something.
end of the day, it's a business. I mean,
Right.
that'll be a very controversial topic in the summer. If you have Caleb Williams and Justin Fields there, both fighting for that QB1 position. I
Right.
don't think Eberflus, like they've won 4 of their last 6, but I think if they do draft another QB, they're gonna want someone else in there.
No, I think he goes to the Raiders. Justin Fields.
Hey, Garoppolo ain't it, so
Let's see.
Garoppolo is
Aiden
definitely not
O'Connell,
it. Vegas
Yeah.
needs a prayer.
Yeah, they
yeah.
don't care. I feel like the Bears are playing for theirs, and they're gonna play Fields as much as they can and boost his value, and then
Mm.
trade him to a team for his, the highest they can get, the highest value they can get.
Listen, the Patriots, who do they get? Bill Belichick is out. Who's going to be the coach? An unknown or a well-known coach out here?
I think an unknown, man. You start fresh.
Unknown head coach. They got a top
I
four
wouldn't
pick
give up.
so
I wouldn't
far.
give up on Bill Belichick. I mean, that's just me, you know. But
It's
maybe
confirmed,
if
Primo. It's confirmed. He's out.
yeah,
You know who's a
Yeah,
big name
man.
on the market?
He's going to LA.
Dude, you got this guy, Mike McDonald. He's the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. He might get a big job. You
oh,
know,
he's got yeah,
right,
he's got something there. I
right.
don't know. I don't know, but what I'm also thinking is if I'm the Washington Commanders front office president, all that, I would throw a blank check at Bill Belichick. A
Yeah.
blank check to Bill Belichick, right? And then get that defense right. Tom Brady, right, wasn't was what, seventh round pick, sixth round pick,
Yep.
right? But we have a shot at a top three pick. So whoever we pick up is gonna be eons better than what a sixth round pick was, right? That was a diamond in the rough. They're the diamond in the rough in Tom Brady.
No,
And it'll be a much better project for Bill Belichick to work with. Right. We have a lot of cap space. 2 second round picks, 2 third round picks,
no,
plenty
but I,
for Bill
I don't think
Belichick to
he's
craft
in
his
charge.
team.
Do you leave him in charge, or do you get a young GM who knows what he's doing, or who's more in
No,
touch?
it's a head coach and GM change. Ron Rivera also is like pretty
Right,
much all but guaranteed out. But you also
right,
need a GM out there.
right. You can't keep Belichick and let him go crazy in free agency again, and then
No,
have a
Bill
disaster.
Belichick drafting, he'll yeah.
Yeah,
Their draft picks are kind of sus. So if you
no,
pick him
he
up, you
set
pick
them
him up
back.
after. I don't know.
They were set back, especially after they drafted N'Keal Harry over a lot of other receivers. You know what I mean? Like I forgot what draft it was. I don't know if it was over Justin Jefferson.
Nah, nah, you no, I
Yeah,
know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. They drafted back poorly. They could have
They
drafted
draft pretty bad.
anyone.
They're known to draft as bad as Washington. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but coach wise, there's no denying his
It,
prestige.
yeah, but his tenure looks like it's almost over. The
Yeah,
GM staff.
sometimes you just need new, something to spark
Yeah,
you know,
All
a new
right,
face.
guys. MVP talk. MVP talk. This weekend, Lamar Jackson has taken the lead, in my opinion, in the number one MVP, projected MVP for this season. All right. And in my top four, I want to say Christian McCaffrey, okay, at number two, Tua Tagovailoa at number three, and I'm gonna go with Brock Purdy at number four. All right. So I think Purdy is pretty much out, but I'm gonna put my money on Lamar.
yeah. I would do the same. I did it a few weeks ago. I think Lamar's the safe bet right now. I think he can go crazy the last few games. He has to have a couple good games. It's not just like a lock. He has to continue to at least have, two or three touchdowns in each one. Doesn't matter if he throws or runs it. Just do that before, if Josh Allen could sneak up too. Josh Allen is another one that he could finish strong, and then, all of a sudden you're looking at the stats and he had 45 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So, just a sleeper for me.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, Lamar plays the Dolphins and he plays the Steelers next, right?
Yeah.
So that Dolphins game is going to be crucial for that number one seed. And that Steelers game is not a gimme. It's a rivalry game, so it's not a gimme for Baltimore, right? Mike Tomlin does not want to leave his potential tenure with the Steelers on a losing record. He's never had a losing record since he started coaching for them. So
Right.
that's still up for play. Uh, but Lamar is the clear front runner, but God damn, would I love to see CMC win it, man. If anybody can win it this year, that's not a quarterback, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Thanks.
I would pick him as 1B rather than number two. I and we brought him up earlier. Josh Allen for me is number three, right? Josh Allen he's a beast. Everyone brings up his interceptions, right? He does turn the ball over, but what he does besides that is incredible. So you got to give him props for that. And I'd put Tua at 4. Brock Purdy's not even in the top 5. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think Dak fell out of the top 5 in recent weeks. He
Past
lost.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, Dak was in it as well, and Dak just completely fell out of the like maybe he's top 10 now. He was
He
top
is
3.
who we thought he was,
He is
a
exactly who we thought
Cowboy.
he was. Um, the one thing with that situation is they keep losing the big games, and now it looks like for once it might not be all based on stats. It might be based on what you do in a head-to-head matchup. You know what I mean? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Lamar goes crazy, but you know what? He has Gus Edwards to pound the ball in. He doesn't need to do it himself like Josh Allen does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like also
Yeah,
also look at Gus Edwards' stats. Also look at the other players around him and see who makes that impact. And I think it's clearly Lamar.
he's
that's
doing it
true.
without Mark Andrews, who was, albeit besides in name, his wide receiver 1. So
Yeah, I think essentially the only person that can knock out Tua Tagovailoa is Jalen Hurts if he keeps up with his touchdown performance. 14 rushing touchdowns, about 20 throwing touchdowns. So he's hitting
and
that
Tush
40
push.
touchdown marker. Okay, guys, so that's pretty big numbers. But hopefully, we'll see what's going on in the next 2 weeks. As we're concluding the episode here, guys, this is the final podcast of the 2023 season and year. All right.
Yes,
And what a year it's
sir.
been. And special thanks to everybody. We are currently 5,000 views on YouTube. Shout outs to the RFS
Let's
family
get it.
and the founders. Shout
Raw,
outs
Keep
raw,
to
it.
raw.
shout outs to you guys. Of course, Andre X Bones. Shout outs to Danny P. Paris for also contributing to the show. And
Yes,
guys,
sir.
we'll be back Wild Card Weekend 2023. We'll be back with a new episode of the Raw Report. But
The
before we get out
rawness.
of here, guys, make sure you drop a comment, hit the like button, follow us on Instagram at Raw Fantasy Sports. And guys, final thoughts.
That's it. Just want to thank everybody for joining, tuning in, liking, subscribing, and we have a lot to come, a lot to look forward to, and a lot more is coming on the way. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Jerry for setting up this amazing pod, with the fellas here. Been in the league for several years now, and finally I'm on the pod, pretty consistently this season. Got plenty more to come. Got some more additions and some more jokes. Unfortunately, Bones was too scared to jump on the pod today. He knew that I was gonna give him a whooping.
He knew
So
that I was going to
we
rank on him for
are
the worst trade ever.
yeah, that's it was on the table. But again, it's a pleasure, an honor, sometimes a privilege. Keep it raw. That's the law.
All right, fellas. See you next year. Happy New
Later,
Year.
later.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Blessings.